the New Human podcast is for calming down, relaxation, telling real, raw stories, and just getting to meet new people. I mean, look at me and you right now. With that being said, I'm Justin Klein. Today, we have Jessica Marr on the show. And Jessica, she is a musician and a mindfulness practitioner. And I'm honored for you to be here today to share your story and to go into some interesting topics with each other.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, Justin. This place, I mean, I wish everybody could go on a tour. It's so magical. Like everything you guys have created here. And Zini always calls herself a Renaissance woman. You're a Renaissance man. Like you could do it all. You learn it all, self-taught. And so it's an honor to be here in this energy that you've so intentionally cultivated and that is felt. And so thank you for having me here. The honor's all mine.
Yes. Shout out to Zini for introducing us.
Yes.
I think our paths jumped with mutual friends or whatnot. Jessica, starting off the show, I would like to talk to you about life before. Tell me a little bit about yourself before going into who you are now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's funny because when we were chatting a little bit earlier, you mentioned talking about the story of how I came to be a musician. And this is where I like to ham it up. And this is how, I've been spending too much time with my dad because I've got some good dad jokes. You probably got dad jokes over there, an actual dad. But I always say, like, I came out of the womb wailing. I wasn't like, most people come out crying. I was like, wait. Like, I always feel like I've been singing for as long as I can remember. Yeah. And I grew up in musical theater, singing, performing. I learned early on that I loved to bring people joy through music, through singing, through performing. I used to ask my family to sit around and watch while I would do like choreography that I whipped out of thin air. And so I just always loved performing. And eventually I got into playing violin. I don't even know if I told you that I play violin.
I did not know that.
Violin or fiddle. Wow. You know the difference between the two?
No.
So violin and fiddle, they're the same instrument. It's just stylistic differences.
Okay.
If I had mine here, and this is another, I ham it up at my performances. I'll have my violin. I'll be like, this is violin. And then this is fiddle. And get them going, whatever, like I said. So I started playing violin when I was 9. Then my dad and I started performing in a bluegrass fiddle band together. He plays guitar and sings when I was about, say, like 14, something like that. So when people are like, did you grow up in a barn? I'm like, well, I used to play music in one, so kind of. But we would play there. And so I got a little bit more comfortable with not just the musical theater, but with actual performances. And then I started teaching myself guitar and I was writing songs for as long as I can remember. Sometimes I'll find lyrics that I wrote when I was little. I'm like, whew, you really thought you were creative back then, didn't you, little Jess? Some of them I'm like, I remember rhyming like ice and dice. And I'm like, good thing that never saw the light of day. But I've always had that creative calling to perform and to uplift. And so that's how I got into music. And I started doing more recording when I moved out to LA. I went to school in Orange County, to university out there. And La Universidad. In Spanish, you don't say college, you say university. La Universidad. And so I went to school in Orange County and then moved to LA. And there I started recording some of my own music and releasing. And that's when I kind of started being more of a recording artist as an actual profession while still maintaining a 9-to-5 back then. Like I was plugged in to the matrix.
For sure. What was California? What time period was this?
So I graduated high school in 2010 and then moved out to Orange County to go to Chapman University. Shout out to Chapman for bringing me some great friends. Shout out to Chapman for also teaching me a lot about student loans. That's another
every
bit
girl's
of
dream.
That's another bit of the matrix. But I'm so grateful and blessed for that experience because I met some great people. I learned a lot about myself being out there. And at the age of 18, when you move halfway across the country by yourself, you're really thrown into some development, whether you want to or not. And so I grew a lot. And after the 4 years of going to school there, I moved to LA and got a 9-to-5. And I was really fortunate to have this community around me but I had these old patterns of people pleasing, of self-abandoning, of self-sacrificing. And so I wasn't being my best self. And so while I'm also simultaneously trying to get a foothold in the music industry, which is its own
Especially in
beast
California.
in California.
Yeah, difficult, I'm sure.
It's a whole thing. And I didn't have anybody in my family. Like a lot of people will have someone, a family friend, or some of the people that I knew out there had, connections. I didn't have anybody out there who could help me with music. So I really learned on my own. I quickly got acquainted with my two dear friends now who are also my producers that I work with, Beto Vargas and Mart Oshkan. And they have been like brothers from other mothers type energy. Same, you have brother from another mother right over here. But they've been so great for me because it's been awesome having these people who see you and your vision and believe in you enough to be like, we're going to do this. And so it was a bumpy journey. And then I eventually left California when, I don't know if you've ever had that experience where you're just like, it's time to go. And I had another reason for leaving too that we can maybe circle back to at some point in the conversation. But between the inner guidance and external factors, I moved away and did a brief stint in Dallas and then moved to Iowa just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's been familiar, but foreign at the same time.
Right. Because I mean, I've never been to California, but I could see California to Iowa is a little bit different culture.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go back a little bit about California and your music. Did you find that your playing level or ability was heightened while you were out there or stripped away? Because, I think about kids in a small school, there's a lot more opportunity, let's say for sports or whatnot. You go to a huge school, there's not too many, but the great thing about that is they push you to that next level because you want to be, the best that you can be. So now you're competing with another 100 people. Did you feel like that or find that when you were out there?
Yes. So that's actually a really great perspective. I definitely felt like a little fish in a big pond out there. That being said, I actually love how my journey took me from getting my roots and my experiences early on there in California, in LA. Like I lived in LA.
Yeah, like Los Angeles.
Yeah, like people be like, so where you live around there, like Calabasas? I'm like, no, my address was Los Angeles, LA. But so I love that I learned out there and then was able to take what I learned there and apply it here because it's just, there's so much out there. And I loved my time there. Like I'm not here to bash on California. I will say like when it was time for me to go, there were plenty of reasons, but I got what I was meant to get from being there. And I loved being able to learn from all this diversity out there. There's different people, different styles, different approaches, and you're kind of in the thick of it there. So I learned a lot, and also from performing, this kind of performance energy that you're meant to embody. But I wasn't necessarily learning it all in a super aligned way because there's a lot of pressure out there. I mean, anywhere. Anyone can tell you there's pressure like on superficial things, on how you look. And I definitely had a lot of people pressuring me to sound this way, look this way, act this way, like wear this, do that. And
very programmable.
Yes. And it helps me understand more so why we see so many people in music emerging in teenage and 20s or in teenage years and they're in their 20s is because yes, there is something to be said for, you've got a lot of energy then, but also people are really easy to program and mold.
I was just saying moldable,
as opposed to when you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, you know more about yourself. You're less likely to compromise your integrity when you've already done all this work to learn who you are. And so now because I remember I heard, do you remember that Carly Rae Jepsen, the Call Me Maybe, that one? I remember hearing an interview with her on the radio and they're like, you guys would think she's so young. Her voice sounds so young, but she's really 26. And I was like, oh, 26 old. So I had this weird expiration date, like timeline in my mind of like, oh, I better make it by 26 or they're going to be introducing me like Carly Rae Jepsen. Like, can you believe how old she is? And then after 26, I started feeling like 30 was the new expiration date. And a lot of people will tell you out there, like I wrote a song called Somebody, and it's all about this pressure that a lot of people in my community had to make Forbes 30 under 30, because it's like, well, if you don't make 30 under 30, then what are you really doing? And I was just like, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Like and now I'm 34 as we're recording this, I feel more passionate than ever that we need more examples of people winning at all ages. Mm-hmm. Not saying that we shouldn't see young people winning, but we need to see people from every age range winning. Mm-hmm. And not to feel like, if you don't do it by this time, it's too late. It's never too late for anything, mm-hmm. right? I mean, Justin, I'm pretty sure you probably have your own take on this, but I'm like, it's never too late. I'm just like,
no, it's not. It's funny. I was listening to a podcast earlier today about that. This guy was like 74 years old talking and was in the best shape of his life. And you could have swore he was 50. He didn't actually start working out and taking care of himself till he was 55.
Wow.
So it's back to it's never too late. It really is never too late. Even for the 75, 80-year-old man that lost his wife or whatever and never thinks he'll find love again, it's never too late.
Absolutely.
You can be, change is always happening. Yeah.
100%. I mean, we were talking also about longevity too earlier, where it's like in the docuseries about blue zones, we see actual accounts of people, centenarians over 100 years old. Some of them were more flexible than I am. I was like, oh, buddy, like you're really doing a squat right there. Like, good for you. I mean, I do yoga, but homeboy over here is like making machetes and just contorting into all kinds of positions that, like, I think he was 98 or something. So not officially a centenarian, but
for sure.
But it's just so true. And then there's that 81-year-old woman who's they call her Iron Woman because she does all the Ironmans. Yeah. And she didn't start, she said, until she was 65. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why do we keep buying this message that we have an expiration date? We're not produce. Right. We're humans.
Yeah. And I think we talked a little bit off air on this too, is that, it's like generation programming in our DNA where, my dad could have said, you got until wait till you're in your 40s, wait till you're in your 50s. And then as you start experiencing it, even myself and my wife, it's like, I remember friends of mine saying, yeah, you don't even know, you're a young pup, wait till you're 40. And I'm like, oh, I'm 35. I still feel pretty good. Yeah. I'm going to keep going here. But it's, it's something that we just keep telling ourselves that's not true.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I think that we've been programmed to believe that, like, because it's easier to control people who are fitting the model that you're talking about, where it's like, this is the model, like, go to school, get good grades, get a job or go to college, get married, and then eventually when you're 65, retire and enjoy your life. I'm not saying that model is not a great model for some people. I think that actually is some people's highest timeline, and it's beautiful for them. Mm-hmm. But the problem is to assume that is the model that works.
What part of your journey did you start experiencing all these things where we keep talking about the matrix being plugged in and all this stuff. At what point did you start to notice that there's something more out here and, I'm tired of trying to fit the mold. I'm going to go off and create my new mold. Mm-hmm. When did that happen roughly?
Well, 2016 is kind of the year when I was working with this coach. Her name's Kina, and she recommended the book to me, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Do you know that one? Yeah. And it's just, that was like my gateway drug into the world of intentionality and consciousness, because she talks about mindset and you create your own reality. And she also, Jen Sincero, the author, she positions a lot of these things that we've just accepted because that's the way they are, and invites the reader to question them. So I definitely recommend that book. Mm-hmm. That was a good eye-opener for me. And it was almost like a snowball domino effect after that, of like one book led to another. So I was always somewhat open-minded. I grew up in more of the Christian faith. And then I kind of had these questions of like, does it have to be exactly like this? Is this the only way?
Mhm.
And I just remember thinking like, I don't have, and this I will just say, I think that religion can be so beautiful. I have nothing against it. Like some of my greatest friends are members of different religions. For me, I felt like I do have this connection to something bigger, to the divine, but I couldn't figure it out. And because I couldn't figure it out, I started feeling like maybe there's nothing. Like maybe I'm alone out here. And I started really questioning like faith, belief, whatever you want to call it in college. And I read this book because I was taking a religion course as an elective, surprisingly enough. And I read a book by Rabbi Kushner called When Bad Things Happen to Good People. And I actually found myself coming back to my faith through this book written by a rabbi. And I thought it was just so cool because he describes, I believe he said he lost a child. And I know that's like every parent's biggest nightmare. And he was saying, as a rabbi, especially, you might be like, God, why would you do this to me? But he said that God is not the bad things that happen to people. God is the strength that gets us through it. And that's a whole nother topic. What we were talking about, cans of worms. I feel like just even bad things happening, why they happen, like that's a whole nother Pandora's box. But that got me back onto the possibility of believing in something greater. And I've always been kind of this like, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, resilient mindset, because I went through some really dark times really early in life, like very dark. And I can share more, but I learned that you can actually use those hardships to make yourself stronger, which is something you were saying earlier, Justin, I remember. And so between that experience and this new information, I was able to open myself up so that when that coach entered and she started talking to me about mindfulness and you're a badass, that I was receptive. I was in the right place. They say like, when you're ready, the teacher appears. What's that quote?
Yeah, it is that when you're ready, the teacher appears.
Yes.
Instead of just seeking for it. And then eventually the good teachers, their students teach them.
Ooh,
the student becomes a teacher,
nice,
and the
Yoda.
teacher becomes
like
the student. Yeah.
Good one.
I wasn't into Star Wars, so I don't think I quoted that one.
The wisdom, the force is strong with this one. We can tell. But that's kind of like how I got into the world of mindfulness. And as I was telling you earlier, I just started using all these tools that I was learning about from podcasts and books and teachers and courses. And it was transforming my life. It was transforming my health. I went from being really sickly to like very healthy and just understanding the mind-body connection. And then I was realizing that these tools are so beneficial. I want to also make them more accessible to people and share them in my way. Because that's when people are like, there's already so many people out there doing it, so saturated. There's only one you. You're the only one who can share things in your way. And sometimes it's like the math problem where it's like you keep redoing it and then all of a sudden it clicks. Sometimes the right person saying things at the right time in the right way, it just is your light bulb moment. So
yeah,
I don't know if that fully answers your question because I kind of did a little tangent there, but I think that is like you were asking me how I got into this.
Yeah.
Right? Is that correct?
It is. I like that though. And while you're talking, I got a bazillion questions going on in my mind. It's like, pause it, pump the brake here. But one of them was, did you notice a difference in your playing, or maybe even you write your own music, writing versus, in that transition where you're practicing mindfulness now? Are you writing differently? Are you even singing? Did you notice? Because you're saying, well, I was very sick, and then I started doing this, and I started getting really healthy. Did you notice something in your voice, or maybe even the way you felt the music?
Yeah.
Did that start to change as well?
Yeah. This is why they pay you the big bucks. These are good questions. So good. I'm like, wow, I've never been asked these things before, causing me to think.
Sorry, I'm just winging it. I swear. I don't have an itinerary today.
Dude, you're channeling some good stuff there. Yes. To answer in a very succinct way, yes, I did notice a difference. I noticed deeper healing from music, from my own writing, from experiencing other people's music. It all seemed more expansive. I felt things more deeply. And so, yes, I did notice a shift. And also in my own singing, I think the more you do the inner work, the more you build up your confidence, the more you're accepting of being imperfect. Therefore, the more I was willing to share. And the more you're willing to share and to practice, the better you get. So in a practical sense, the work helped me just do it more, which improved my voice, improved my abilities, still improving every day. Like we're talking about calluses on guitar, and I play violin, but I stopped playing violin for a long time. I actually almost quit. My dad said, Jesse, you're going to want to keep playing. I like to do an impression of him that he does not like. But, Jesse, you're going to keep playing that violin there. He doesn't sound like that at all. This is what it's
It
like. It
sounds good to me, and probably our
Thanks,
listeners. Your dad's going to be like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
What is she doing
He's
right
gonna be
now?
like, there she goes again, that one. And then he'd say kids these days. And then I'm like, wow, I'm 34. I feel great being called a kid. Thank you. But he encouraged me to keep playing. And so I've been playing more recently. And just from playing more recently and not worrying about those squawks or, hitting an extra string, I've gotten better and better. So the inner work that I've done has helped me to be more comfortable with starting small, or the messy middle, or whatever you want to call it, which helps you improve, because you've got to do that. Like you can't become great at anything if you aren't willing to suck at it at first.
Yeah.
And so that helped. And also something that surprised me is the more I got comfortable with my shadow work, my inner child healing, the more comfortable I was with writing lyrics that weren't always rainbows and sunshines and unicorns, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
I was okay with writing songs that were like expressing my emotions and in that way processing them, because I always felt like, well, if I'm making songs, I need to make these uplifting because otherwise people won't want to hear them. But I'm like, sometimes it's uplifting from the human experience to feel seen. So in a way, it gave me permission to sing about more topics. So that's my long-winded answer to the question. Did it make a difference? Yes, it did.
Yeah. I hear too, or what I'm getting or picking up now is, it's inspiration for others where they see you, like, we could give the example of like these big musicians and pop stars or whatever, and that they paint us all this perfect picture, and even they sing a perfect picture, but then when you go into your vulnerability and you really just start letting it out and maybe showing a little dark aspect of yourself. So now your listener saying, wow, she is human.
Mm-hmm.
And I can relate to that. Like I feel like that. And the song, your passion becomes, in my opinion, that more intimate, with the listener. It's like, dang, they're not invincible. I'm just like you.
Exactly.
It's just now I'm singing from my heart versus singing from a page.
Absolutely. And that's like, that kind of ties back into what we were discussing earlier. It's like you don't want to position yourself above anyone.
Right.
And the best teachers and guides will, like yourself, will be like, I'm just like you. And we're helping people remember who they are, as opposed to saying like, follow me and all will be well, my way or the highway. Like that's problematic. When someone tries to tell you this is the only way.
Yeah.
Question Elizabeth April. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Yeah. I'm actually going to one of her live events when I'm in LA, which I'm going to be going back to LA at the end of January to record more music, announcing it here for the first time. Bing, bing, bing. So I'll be there, and I'm going to see a live Elizabeth April event. And she is a remote viewer, and she always encourages people question everything. She says, even me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's how I find you credible. That's how I know I believe you, is because, and maybe I don't resonate with everything she says, but I see her as credible because she's encouraging people to think critically and independently and not follow her blindly.
Yeah. And in today's world, that is a very, very important message, because look at all the AI. Pretty soon, it's already getting there. It's hard to distinguish what is real and what is not real. And that's a whole nother sidebar, you know, but it's, I tell my son this all the time, even, you know, like you see something on Google or ask Siri something and it's like, buddy, I know it gave you an answer, but now you have to use your own judgment.
Yeah.
What does that message mean or do for you? Do you want to do some more research on it? Do you believe that message is true?
Right.
You know, don't look up on the same website or, well, this guy said it too. No, how do you feel about it? You know, and that's very, very important. And where we're going in the future, you know, is getting in tune and in touch with our own inner being, you know?
And that self-trust. Yeah, absolutely.
Trust. My eyes just lit up and she's like, oh, that's self-trust. Since we're on that topic right now, trust. And we'll maybe go back a little bit into your story, but trust. There's a topic, you know, off air. I was asking Jessica, you know, I love doing this with people where it's like, if this is your last one and only podcast, Jessica, your one and only, what would be your topic of choice? And hers was trust.
Yes.
Going into maybe acceptance.
Right.
You want to touch on that a little?
Yes. Yes. And I love that asking it in a very dramatic way. It's like, there's no drama here. It's like when you're ascended, you get above the drama. So you just find ways to do it inventively and creatively. The one topic at the one podcast. This is it. Your moment of truth. And we're talking about trust. So what you were saying, Justin, actually, that you've been instilling within your son, which is beautiful, by the way, that self-trust, that's something I've been learning. And I've up to this point have kind of had to learn the hard way. I'm inviting more ease in for that. I'm open to it being easy now. Like, let this be easy. Show me how we get to bring in more flow. But self-trust is something that I had a hard time with because a lot of us are programmed, like you said, to look to someone else. We outsource our power. My friend Kelly, often she's a nurse and she's also like a holistic queen. She's healed her asthma and her allergies 100% just from lifestyle, like diet, exercise, supplements, everything. And she's like, we oftentimes will outsource our power to doctors. Like, you tell me what to do. She's like, but first, maybe that's the right path. Maybe you do need to talk to a doctor, but also, are you checking in with your own body? Are you asking yourself? Like, these are things that we're not really taught to listen to our intuition. Like that, it's painted as almost woo-woo, but at the same time, do we not like hear that guidance when it's like, don't go down that dark alley? Or sometimes you just get someone just kind of rubs you the wrong way. Sometimes that's our intuition and we've got to listen to that. And in mainstream, you'll hear people say like, listen to your gut, but we don't always tune into that. And in this world that we're in of more intentionality, more consciousness, we also are very familiar with the term trust or surrender or let go, but we don't realize how easy it is to slip back into that control, trying to control people. And one way we do that often is people pleasing. I'm sure a lot of, especially empaths, are recovered or recovering people pleasers, trying to package themselves in whatever mold. Like, how can I say this? Like, I'm a chameleon. I want you to like what I'm saying, trying to fit into whatever package we think will be most palatable for people. And that is actually you not having trust, or that's you trying to take control of something you can't control because you think, well, I have to give them the version of me that I think they want. So you're actually not having faith in God, source, the universe to guide you through it, but you have no faith in that person. And I think most people who are people pleasers won't want to say like, oh no, I'm not trying to take control over someone. They almost feel like the opposite. They're giving their control away, but really it's like the other side of that coin. It's the inverse. You're trying to control them by giving them what version you think they want. And so it's kind of doubly betting against all odds and yourself because you're trying to control this person. You're trying to control the outcome instead of trusting that you authentically are enough and that whatever comes of it will be what it's meant to be. So sometimes we can kind of feel like, we're more evolved or we're higher vibe. But the truth is we're no better. This might be better for us, but it's not our place to say whether someone should or shouldn't be awake.
Mm.
And so it's that trust, again, that trusting that if they're not awake, they're not meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they're not meant to be now. Or maybe you actually don't even know what awake means. So that's kind of the trust. It's like trusting in your own experience so greatly, trusting in your own truth so much that you're not trying to control anyone else's.
That's difficult to do.
Yes.
You know,
because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy.
beautifully said. How does one get to that point? You know, like we talked about off air being uncomfortable, even. And these are all huge words, you know, trusting, uncomfortable, acceptance.
Yeah.
And, you know, trying to fit in, like you were saying. I mean, that's who I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was trying to always, I would read the room and play whoever I needed to fit in to match the mirror, you know, and I wasn't being genuine and authentic like I feel like I am now. But it's like, what was I learning there, you know? And then I got thinking, I'm like, aren't we all learning here at the same time?
Yeah.
It's a constant school we're in.
Yeah.
And, you know, so going back to trusting, could you give some tips? How does that one person mustered up the courage to say no, to say, you know what, that's not in alignment for me today. I think, you know, I'm going to stay home. You know, I used to think all the time when I used to go out, and I'm sure people have did this. You get a friend that calls you up, a buddy or whatever. Hey, let's go out and go listen to. I'd rather just sit on my couch and eat popcorn and watch this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't want to say no, so let's go.
Right.
How does one muster up that courage? Like, do you have some stepping stones or advice?
Yeah.
You know, you could give to our listeners?
Great. Yes. More great material, Justin. This is good stuff. The stuff that I'm currently working through. I will be the first to admit that there's still a lot of room for growth and improvement, but I'm getting much better at it, because if you would have met Jess like 5 years ago, oh my gosh, just night and day, in the sense that I am so willing, and I don't want to disappoint people, but I am so willing to disappoint people, because disappointment is not a bad thing. People are going to be disappointed with us. We're going to disappoint people. They're going to disappoint us. We're going to disappoint ourselves. It's okay. It's all about what you're learning from it. And I think the biggest thing for me is, I mean, honestly, just practice makes perfect. It's going to be shitty at first. It's not going to feel good when you're so used to telling people what you think they want to hear. Emphasis on the what you think they want to hear, because really you don't know what it's like to be in their head. So even when you're people pleasing to try and accommodate other people, you're still not actually accommodating them, because you're just using your lens to see. So it just took a lot of me being willing to uncomfortably speak my truth. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. But you really have to think, how much easier would it be just to be myself? Like, how much energy do we put into trying to say the right thing, trying to be the right way, trying to appease and appeal and bend and mold? Like, think about how much energy that takes, and how much energy you'd be saving to put towards your own growth or something you care about if you could reclaim some of that. So I just would encourage people to remember, like, every time you practice that self-abandonment of trying to do something that you don't want but someone else wants you to do, remember how much energy you're wasting. I'm not saying there aren't times where we've got to take one for the team. Like, sometimes you really don't want to go to somebody's game or show, but it's like a big deal and it's a once a year thing and you got to rise to the occasion. But generally speaking, if you can just remind yourself that, one, to do something that isn't true to you is wasting your energy, but two, it's abandoning yourself. And you're actually then reopening those wounds or re-triggering those wounds that put that pattern there to begin with, to think that that you're better or more worthy, if you're doing what other people want you to do, you could just remind yourself, take a second to just reflect before you respond, before you answer.
Pause.
That would be my first tip. And you're asking me these questions that are so great that I haven't thought of. So I'm kind of like processing as I'm speaking. But so the first
channel, let's go.
But the first step I would recommend is the pause, then checking in and asking yourself if it's worth abandoning yourself, if it's worth the energy that it would expend. And then also just do things uncomfortable. You know, they say do it scared, do it unprepared. Like you just got like coming back to with music, in order to be good at something, you have to be willing to suck at it first. So maybe at first, boundaries for you, you're not great at it. Maybe you don't feel good about them, but you just got to keep doing that enough so that you eventually just are yourself. And honestly, is that not the best vetting process from life? Mm-hmm. It's like, if I'm really me, then I will repel and attract the right people. Like, it's so easy. Why did we waste all this time doing it the other way? It's just so much easier. Just be. I'm like, wow, thanks, Mom. Just be yourself. It's so true. We've got all these cliches we've been talking about. They're just true.
They are.
Just be yourself, and then let life naturally show you who is and isn't meant for you. Mm-hmm. Simple, not easy.
Yeah. So I like the pause. Okay. I'm just like, I like to play devil's advocate here, you know?
Oh boy.
You know,
here we go.
Because it is hard. It really, I mean, I kind of did it so many times in my life when you say no, and then it's like, you feel like an asshole. Mm-hmm. And then, but then I'm like, I never really like put myself in the other person's shoes. You know, yeah, I might have hurt their feelings, but at the same point, is it like, you know, did they develop a new sense of respect for me? Like, whoa, this guy has constantly been here for me all the time, and he said no. Mm-hmm. Like, what's going on?
Yes.
And then, you know, you maybe say no again. It's not like I'm trying to shut out this particular being. It's just, again, I'm being true to myself, and I'm not going to those places. Mm-hmm. Well, now the client or whoever is seeing that. Like, they're respecting their self. I'm not just always getting my way. Right. I mean, this is, you know, child and parent outcome. I mean, 101, you know, parenting, here we go.
Yeah,
you know, and it works. It really does. But you have to be mindful.
Of course.
You know, and mindful going into your mindfulness.
Yes, there we
you
go.
know, practicing all of that. Like, did you have any first key steps that led you onto that journey? You know, I mean, for me, I read the book called Peak Mind. Have you read that book?
No, but we'll have to swap books after this.
Yeah, it's all about mindfulness. And this girl was using it for our military to be aware of their thoughts, you know, on which civilians, you know, if they had to, you know, take out somebody, it's like, use your judgment on this. You have to be very good of your own thought. And so for myself, that was one of the hardest points for me, is just not knowing when to speak and to say what's true and what's authentic.
Okay.
What about you, you know, as far as mindfulness goes? What was one of your first practice steps that you started seeing benefits from?
Well, meditation, first and foremost for me. And that meditation, I mean, some people love it. Some people can't stand it. You know, you love it or hate it or whatever. I'm a huge advocate for meditation, and I've had so many people ask me about it. And even in my membership, Mindful Music Mondays, I was telling you about earlier, I talk about how meditation doesn't have to be this thing where you sit down and say Om for an hour straight and have no thoughts in your head. It's like, even the most practiced meditators will tell you, you still get thoughts popping in. It's like, every time someone tells me I can't stop the thoughts in my head, I say, congratulations, you're human. You're not a bot. That's normal. It's okay. It's the willingness to pause. Even, and I tell people, even if you sit there and you just do 60 seconds to start, meditation for me was also my segue into more intentional, conscious living. But just even if you sit for 60 seconds and go, oop, thought, there's a thought, there's a thought, that's a thought, you're actually doing something so good for yourself. You are rewiring your brain and teaching yourself that I'm worthy of this moment. I get to pause. It's like we know that you've got to sleep to recharge, but our minds, they don't sleep. They keep going, keep giving us crazy dreams about our teeth falling out and being in front of the classroom without your homework prepared or whatever. So to give your mind that rest, that recharge, hit the off button so your software can function at a higher capacity. You're optimizing your experience by meditating. And so I think that helped me a lot. And circling back to the mindfulness, even with the people pleasing, I often say that you don't have to be inconsiderate. You can be kind and still say no. You can still be kind and tell people things they don't want to hear, because actually kindness is not the same as being nice. And I've heard that somewhere. I wish I could give credit to where I heard that first, but I've heard it.
We're going to go with Jessica Marr right now.
Oh, sure. I'll take it, Justin. Thanks. And for everybody listening, you can give Justin the credit because we're just bouncing it. We're all just walking each other home, really. Yeah. But niceness is not the same as kindness. Nice is, and being nice and polite can be great, but you don't ever want to be nice at the expense of your authenticity, of your truth. And you're not doing yourself or anyone else any service. So you can be mindful and kind and considerate. You don't have to be a total asshole and be like, I don't want to see you tonight. You don't have to say it that way. You can just say, I'm not available. Thank you for the invite. You can still be kind, but also tell people things they don't want to hear, because actually that is the kind thing to do. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it's called Mindfulness Mondays.
Oh, Mindful Music Mondays.
Mindful,
I said that really loudly.
3 M's. Yeah. Because that was like quick and a kind of a tongue twister a little bit there. Was that on purpose?
Well, I like alliteration. So you'll find I've had a festival called Music and Magic. They have Mindful Music Mondays. So we got a lot of alliteration. Also Jessica Marr, the M, but I just have always been really cheesy and corny. And so I love me some alliteration. So Mindful Music Mondays, because Mondays are kind of the day that most people dread. And I was like, if we can reclaim Mondays, right?
I just was thinking in the movie, it's called The Office. Have you ever seen that movie?
Wait, I've seen the show The Office. There's a movie.
I think it's called The Office, a movie, but this guy comes in and they work at an office. He's like, somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Yes. Is it Office Space?
Oh, that's what it is. Office Space. Yeah.
Yeah. When he's like, Miss Stapler. Yeah. Yes. I know exactly. And my dad will quote that one too a lot, where they jump to conclusions or whatever. He comes up with that mat where he's like, jump to conclusions. Yeah. Somebody's got a case of the Mondays. I mean, how many cases of the Mondays have you
millions
experienced
in my life? Yeah, it's brilliant to have it on a Monday.
So it's like, if we can reclaim Mondays, the start of our week, because they say like how you start something is how you finish something, or whatever, all of those sayings that they have out there. I thought, if we can do this, then we can really set ourselves up for success. So sometimes we don't meet on Mondays, we'll meet on Friday or whatever, and then it's a mindful music moment. But the concept is starting it on a Monday so that you're getting the optimization for the whole week ahead.
Is this open to the public, or how does,
Yeah, you can, on my website, jessicamarr.com, I have a tab that says Mindful Music Mondays on there, and you can.
Does it have like a bio exactly of what it is?
It's got a video of me out there. I think I'm saying, if you're wondering what Mindful Music Mondays is, well, let me tell you, something like that. I don't know, some video of me saying
You sound so much like a teacher.
Oh,
you are a teacher.
Here to teach. What is it? Have you seen School of Rock?
Yeah.
When he's like, those who can't teach, and those who can't teach PE. No offense to any PE teachers out there. It's just a quote from School of Rock.
Yeah. Let's go back into music.
Okay.
Now that we're on the music subject. So the song, The Light, one of your newer songs.
Yes.
Can you touch on it at all?
Yes.
Like the words in it, what it means to you, how it came to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's thank you for asking. That's more food for thought. So the light, like I was mentioning earlier, it's actually a lot about the darkness and integrating the darkness. And I use when I talk about it, I use imagery of like a butterfly in a cocoon, or like the winter, or a seed sprouting in the ground. In this song, though, I'm painting a picture of that internal conflict that you feel between the person that you are and the person you want to be. And I think almost everybody can relate to that. Anyone who's ever wanted to change, it's been like, I know that's who I want to be. And one of the lyrics is a tug of war between the life of I want and what I know. And so the idea is we all feel this push and pull, but the less we try to push against it, the less we resist, and the more we embrace, like, this is the transformation, this is the cocoon, this is the seed in the ground, the better we will be equipped to actually transform. And that's kind of the concept behind the song.
Yeah. Awesome. We talked a little bit about that off air with the light,
Yeah.
and, many of us, when we hear the word dark
Mm.
or anything like that, dark night of the soul, we get scared, or any of those big words. But for our listeners out there, we were talking about how you need to revisit the dark in
Mm-hmm.
order to fully come out of it and to see the light. We
Yep.
can't just band-aid the light over it and shut the dark out.
That's the truth.
Without the dark, there's no light. Without the light, there's no dark.
Bada boom, bada bing. Yep. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And what you said was beautiful earlier too. And you were talking about visiting the dark and moving through it, not staying there, so you can go back to the light. And that, I think, is really truly evolution, and ascending right there is being able to say, like, I can face this darkness and go through it and then move through it, because it can be easy to stay there, and people so frequently can get stuck in rumination and negativity. People who you can think of someone like an Eeyore or a rain cloud, it's because they get stuck in that emotion. But those emotions that we talk about being more uncomfortable, like fear or anger or sadness, those are meant to teach you things. You're meant to experience them, feel them. What do they say? You have to feel it to heal it. You've got to move through it. And so we don't want to resist it, and we don't want to ignore it. We don't want it to be like the monster under the bed that we just don't look at, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then eventually you look at it, it was just a tiny dust bunny. But you want to rather face it and then keep moving, integrate it into your journey, alchemize it, transmute it, whatever fun and fancy word you want to throw on there.
I like
that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I like alchemy. That word is just like, it's a cool word.
It is cool. It's super cool.
It's super cool.
Super cool. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So is that where you're going with your music then now? Is it all messages for you and humanity, more storytelling, or where do you see yourself going with your music?
I see myself being more expansive in my music, because sometimes the way my writing process works is it'll be like channeled. It'll just come to me. It'll pop in my head. I have to grab my phone and go to my voice memo app, because I'm like, oh, like you were saying, if you don't record it right then and there, you'll forget it. And so I'll have a song, like a melody or some words come, and I've got to record it. And sometimes it's inspired by what I'm feeling. Sometimes it's inspired by someone I know. Sometimes it's just something. It's a story I'm like, I don't even know who this is about, but it's coming through. So I think I'm meant to, record this or do something with it. Again, kind of like the concept that you were sharing earlier about the Prince and Michael Jackson, like
the
ideas. And that really is aligned with what Elizabeth Gilbert says in Big Magic. She's like, ideas are like entities. So I feel similarly with the songs. And so I think where I'm headed is just more expansion, more permission to sing about whatever's true to my heart. And I'm always going to be intentional and conscious and mindful. As a creator, that's who I am. It's like in my DNA. But I'm also going to allow myself more fullness, and like if I want to sing about this, I can. And all of my music will have a message, because that's why I make music, is for a message. But the message doesn't have to only be, it's all good. It will all work out. It really will. But sometimes it's okay to not be okay. Sometimes it's okay to be jumping for joy. It's okay to experience the fullness of the spectrum that we came to experience as humans. Spiritual beings having this human experience.
What genre is it? And where can people find out about this music? How do we find you?
How do we find you?
Yeah, I want to find you.
Yeah. So you can look me up on the interwebs. JessicaMarr.com is my website. My music, I put the umbrella on there as pop, because pop is just super broad. And I have always loved a variety of music. I've loved everything from country to rock to pop to hip hop and everything in between. And so I'm like, if I like all these genres, why should I limit my music to one genre? And we see artists doing this now, like 21 Pilots. There's so many people who are,
shifting genres.
Shifting, yes,
Yeah.
and shifting, blending,
Yeah.
and going back and forth. Country music now is taking a whole turn, like where you're seeing like hip hop and country are kind of doing this.
And pop.
Yeah, and pop, and this like molding and melding together. So mine, I put the umbrella of pop, but some of it is more soul, some of it is more pop rock, some is more indie. I just call it pop, just so it can be allowed to go where it goes.
Right.
And JessicaMarr.com is my website that people can find me at.
Yeah.
And you can find links to all my socials and my Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music there. And the Jessica Marr, THE, those are my handles, so people can find me. Jessica Marr by itself was already taken, so I put a the in front of it.
The. Yeah. That's awesome. So this is what you think you're gonna be doing for quite some time is the music.
Feels like with the like intentional mindfulness and the healing. It feels like once I kind of clicked into place that mindfulness aspect into my music, it was like, oh, okay, here's what we do. This is why we're called to perform, is to uplift in that way. And realizing that sometimes uplifting is just giving the people opportunity to feel seen. But yes, that's what I feel like I'll be doing, and continuing on the path, expanding, as I know you're expanding big time over here.
Same thing.
Oh my gosh, everything that you're developing is huge.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Where do you see yourself in Iowa here, or are you just traveling? Because you were saying you're going to go back out to California to record. Do you see or feel like a permanent spot, or are you just going where the wind takes you?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like right now it's here because I've cultivated this community since I moved here. I was in a really dark place before I moved here. It was like there's a rock bottom and then there's a floor below it. That's kind of where I was. And so moving here was such a blessing in disguise, like for every aspect of my life. And so I'm feeling like I'm meant to be here right now. I don't know if that's a like build roots and settle and like this is it, for good. But I do know travel is involved in the future. Maybe it's just for seeing people, for experiences, for touring, whatever. I don't know if I'll land here. So TBD.
Yeah. That's important. And I wasn't when I was laughing because you're like, well, there's the bottom. And then I was one floor down.
Yeah, you know about that.
And I think what I thought it was funny is because I see you now and how bright your light shines and just the messages you have relayed to our listeners. It's laughter, it's comedy to me because you're like this icon, this magic. And it's like, well, no, I actually was in the bottom, and not just the bottom, the very bottom,
Yeah.
So to know with people listening to this, there's times I remember it too, man, I was in some dark times.
Yeah.
And we don't have to always be like that. We can choose a new day, choose a new you, a new human.
Oh, there we
all
go.
of this stuff is a choice,
Absolutely. It is a choice. And I think that anybody that we see, that we look up to, that inspires us has some kind of before story. And it's also good, I feel like, for us to keep in mind, us here and anyone who's listening, that we might have another one of those moments. Like life is going to ebb and flow, but the more intentional you get, the more consciousness you bring into it, the better you get at the hard. And that is a quote from Tony Robbins. I will give that dude some credit right now.
Like, just hitting the quotes today.
Oh, I got him. Quotes, sayings, cliches. What else you want, Justin?
Yeah,
Sound effects.
This is awesome. Can you beatbox? The ASMR.
There you go. There you go. There's your beatboxing. Since you asked, ask and you shall receive. So I will say, like, you do get better at the hard, which I learned thanks to our homeboy TR.
Yeah.
But it's true. And so, you know, we take it as it comes, ride the waves. But you get better. You become a better surfer.
For sure. Yeah. And not to think it's ever going to be over, you know, where I think some of us, myself included, you get on this high and you feel really good. And you almost don't even know what it feels like to feel bad, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you just start like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to cold plunge today, or I'm not going to meditate today, or I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm not, you know, and then stuff starts slipping again. And it's okay. You know, that's part of the journey in that particular moment. And I look at myself, no, we just got off the holidays. I ate some good food, you know, and now I'm like, all right, time to get back on a cleanse, you know, it's so just to be mindful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm with you on the I'm doing a fast right now. And so like my stomach is growling every now and then. I'm like, oh my gosh, well, we're adding some extra sound effects here to the podcast.
Yes.
But I'm with you because it's like balance. We had holidays. I don't think that depriving ourselves is the answer. It's the balance. So it's like, you know, if you want to indulge here and there, but find a way to balance it out. And that's also what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And I completely agree that it's okay to go through the ups and downs. And if I can throw out one more quote without being sued, I got one from Abraham Hicks. If you know Abraham Hicks, she says, or they, she's channeling divine consciousness, but Abraham says, step 5 moment is when you go back to step 1 and you're not mad about it. And so that's true alignment, is realizing you might go back to step 1 and it's okay. Don't be like, how do I get back here? Oh no. It's like you're actually on a spiral staircase. And this quote came from my best friend. And she's like, you maybe feel like you can see it again, but you're actually at a higher perspective. So it's okay to get back to that step 1.
Yeah, it's healing. You know what I mean? And to relive some of those memories, you know, I will share this. I had a memory that was traumatic, and I kept reliving it and reliving it, and I just could not stop reliving it. And it didn't dawn upon me until I was looking at this memory through my 35-year-old eyes versus like a young boy's eyes. And my perspective started to change on it, almost some would say like changing time. And everything from there, it was like I ended it, you know, that karmic loop that we get into, a habit. You just keep going and going. And the next thing you know, it keeps like, how do I shut this off? I don't know what to do. And it just was a lot of being mindful. Everything you're practicing, you know, there are huge benefits in this kind of work and stuff. And you could be a musician, Reiki practitioner, or just a guy walking its path, you know. I think it's important to be aware of our thoughts and what we're feeding them.
And it's so beautiful that you were able to do that, because like we know from our homeboy Joe Dispenza, you really can heal the past. Like and that's what you did, is you went back to that and stopped that cycle, stopped that rumination, and really you created new neural pathways.
Yeah.
And that's what you did was amazing and beautiful and profound. And most people don't do that, but everybody can.
Yeah.
We all have that innate ability. to, like you said, choose differently. And that's what you did. You chose a different path.
Yeah, the capacity.
Yeah.
So before we, wrap this show up here, I got to ask, you said you were playing guitar, violin, you're a beatboxer. Anything else for missing out here? Any instruments or maybe new instruments you want to learn or adding different sounds to your tool belt?
Well, I started to try and teach myself piano. Last year, I did this like 60 days. I mentioned it to you earlier, 60 days of doing things that scare me. And one of the things was learn a new instrument because it's different. I learned violin when I was 9. I started teaching myself guitar at 14. Like I said, I came out of the womb wailing. So I already had those down, but to learn it at 33 at the time, I was like, this is a different ball game. So I am slowly but surely integrating piano. I can play like 3 songs.
Yeah.
So that is one.
Do you find it difficult?
Yes. Oh, yes, for sure. Because when you play piano, each hand is doing things differently, which you'd be like, but Jess, when you play guitar, your hands are in violin, they're doing different things, but somehow it's different.
Yeah.
The mechanics are different. So I'm giving myself patience. And when I have more capacity, because our nervous systems can only handle so much change, and I'm already changing so many things actively. Like, catch me on any given day, and there are like 7 different things that I'm actively changing. Yeah. I'm sure you're the same. You're doing your cold plunge and all the other things. But right now I'm like, okay, learning piano is a little bit on the back burner. We'll get there eventually. Maybe I'll come back next year and I'll be like, guess what? I'm Mozart. Who knows? Anything's possible.
Yeah. Another question. Did Dad keep you into the music? Because you said your dad plays with you too. Is that what kind of kickstarted you a little bit with music, or was it?
He played guitar here and there when I was growing up, not a whole lot. I actually give him major props because he just turned 70 and he's performing now more than ever before. I mean, when he was young, he didn't perform at all. So I think, and my mom, she loves music. She's a big music lover. She was always singing to me when I was growing up. I remember her pushing me on the swing set and singing Rockin' Robin. So I think just being in a family where people appreciate music helped. But my dad, I give him all the credit for me still playing violin because that was one that I almost gave up on, and I'm so glad now. And so it's like, to any of the kids listening out there, or to your kids, sometimes, as annoying as it can be when your parents say, when you're older, you're going to appreciate this, sometimes there's truth to that. I'm not saying always, but in this case, Dad definitely did. He did encourage me. Yeah. And so did Mom.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But don't you play guitar a little bit too?
Yeah. It's been put away for some years.
Okay.
I have another friend of mine that's just learning as well. And he was talking about, which I got to share this with you, is the in-between, okay? The in-between the notes. And this is how he's learning, is even the silence between the notes, the chords, what magic rides in between those. And I'm like, whoa, and it got me like thinking, even pausing and what that does, gathering your thoughts. And then often when there's that pause, that stillness, some of us get uncomfortable, and you're like, should I talk? Should he talk? Or you look at it and it's sacred. It's something's lying there waiting to be witnessed, so the power of silence, and the in-between
of silence.
Stranger Things too, the in-between.
The in-between. Oh, there you go. See, I'm not the only one here quoting things. You're quoting movies and shows.
I know.
There. He's like, Jess, you got all the quotes. I'm like, Justin, I'm not the only one.
Anything else out here for our listeners that you want to touch on? A message, something you're going to be doing in the future? I know you're going to be recording again. Maybe a dream that's so far out there that you're hoping to touch someday.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to just quickly say I love the in-between concept and the power of silence, what you said. That's really beautiful and something I'll think about more, the in-between of the notes, like even just, but there's power in the pause. Yes. We got to put that on a t-shirt.
Power in the pause.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Whoa. Is that trademarked?
We're going to trademark it. My friend Amanda can make us a t-shirt, or Zini can sew it onto a t-shirt for us. Something that more so than projects. I mean, I feel like in this world, so many of us are constantly developing new things. So like, just stay tuned. If people want to keep up with what I'm doing and with my music, then just stay tuned via social media. But a message that I'd like to leave people is something that we spoke about earlier, which is if it's in your heart, it's there for a reason. And especially people who feel like they have this calling, if you feel like you have it, it's there for a reason. Don't ignore it. Like, it's just so powerful to be living your purpose. And if you don't know your purpose, I really invite you to be open to exploring what your purpose is, because it's so different when you're feeling like you've worked all day doing the thing you love versus you worked all day doing something that sucks your soul. And so just being open to not even necessarily your livelihood, but the calling of your heart, and realize like that's your guidance. So I would just like to encourage people to double down. If you're already doing it, which you probably are if you're listening to New Human, this podcast, but I would encourage people to double down on their heart's guidance and their dreams and their visions, and just say, I'm open to this or something even better, because then you leave room for magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks,
wow.
Justin.
This has been amazing.
Yes, it's been awesome.
I've had so much fun with you,
too.
and for just meeting you. Again, I feel like we've been long friends, and this has been just so fluent, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Would you do another one?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd be honored. This is, I mean, you already told me. You're like, you're going to feel it. But the energy here is great. But like, you're just, this is awesome. I love this, like, total instant brother from another mother. Like, I would definitely love to come back and keep co-creating.
Not your one and only podcast, but her second.
Wow. Guys, you see what I have to deal with over here? You told me there'd be one.
Oh, gosh.
Look at the camera. I'm going to be dramatic now. We're finding out there's two.
Thank you so much for coming on here. And one last time, if people want to find you, where can they find you at?
I would just recommend jessicamarr.com or the Jessica Marr on any social media platform.
Perfect. And I'll have that all in the show notes. Tag you so your listeners can see this epic conversation today.
I also love the way you say tag. That's how you know we're in Iowa. Tag. It's so good. Thank you, Justin. It has been an honor and a privilege to be here. Like you said, it was fluent, just flows, and that's how you know like everything's happening as it's meant to. So I'm grateful to be here. I'm very honored. So thank you. Muchas gracias.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning into today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And remember, hit the like and subscribe button. And if you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate, reach out to us.